Hey, welcome to the Diary 101 podcast. I am your host, Akakandelwa Kandepwe, also known as Aka. Today's guest is Bupe. She is a finance and investment professional who is passionate about using money as a tool for real change across Africa. With a degree from the University of Cape Town and hands-on experience in private equity, economics research, and marketing, I think she's somebody we're going to enjoy talking to. I know I will. I recently also met Bupe at an event. I listened to her speak and I had my, oh my goodness, I can't wait to have her on my podcast moment like I always do. So yeah, please welcome Bupe. Hi Bupe.
Hi Aka, good morning.
Good morning. How are you doing?
I'm great, thank you. How are you? Thank you so much for that warm introduction.
Thank you so much for spending the morning with us.
My pleasure. Pleasure's mine.
When you look back to your life, what's one thing you can say, that makes sense that I did that and I am where I am right now?
Wow, we jumped straight into it. I definitely think it was the decision that obviously my parents made for me to pursue my high school education at Trident College. I think that's one moment where I look back, like, had I not gone there, I think my life might have probably taken a different turn. Why I say this is because, first of all, I did want to go to boarding school, but then at the time when when I was going to Trident, it was relatively new, so there was very little research that could be done on the school. And when my mom told me you're going to Trident, I googled it and it's like Solwezi. I'm like, Mom, why do you hate me? I did so well in my grade 9 and you take me to school in Solwezi. So I googled Solwezi and I remember the picture that popped up was like a dusty road with that welcome to Solwezi poster. And I'm like, this is where you want to take me after I passed so well? Like, I was not having it. So obviously when I got there, it was a much different experience. And I think the one thing that I took from my experience there was learning has to be holistic and not limited to just the classroom, right? You can excel academically, but there are other skills that are even more important to make you a well-rounded human being, which I think the Trident curriculum really, really nurtures, unlike other schools. I mean, in the corporate world, we would say, like, this is where, like, things like soft skills come in, right?
Yeah.
So from early on, I think I've been groomed to make sure I'm a well-rounded human being. And that came about because of the school I went to. So yeah, I think that's my look back moment.
I think that's a nice look back moment. I always use mine as I was raised by my grandparents with my parents. I think that's like my look back.
Oh, me too, actually.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, we have something in common.
Yeah.
I was raised by my grandparents instead of my parents. And that's my look back moment because I know that if my parents raised me, I wouldn't be the person I am now. And for us, talking about education, my grandfather was very particular about the people that were born after 1997 in the house would always go to private schools. I'm from it's not such it's like Solwezi. Is it Solwezi? Yeah. Like it's not, how can I put it? It's not such a big town. Now it wasn't a big town, but he was very particular about all of us going to private schools. And us going to private schools and also travel. My grandfather was a well-traveled man and he was in service. But when we were done, when I was born, he was already retired. So we'd always do local trips, and I went to different private schools, and we'd always do those local trips, like going to Kafue National Park and everything. And when I look back, I'm like, oh, this is why I'm a whole
The way I am.
yes, because
Yeah.
people be like, you were born in Western, you
Yeah.
raised to your 12th grade. I'm like, yeah, it doesn't add up. You don't sound like that person. I'm like, my grandfather to be specific, was very
Same,
passionate
actually.
about our education.
Yeah, my grandfather was also very, very passionate about education. And he always pushed me. He's like, my grandchild, make sure you go to school, make sure you go to university. It's just sad that he passed away right before my first year of university. So, but he was also very big, and he always told my mom to invest in my education. So I think that's something that's been passed down generation to generation for me, and that even for my kids, like one thing I would do is invest in their education. And education is not just school.
Yeah. And this is where the difference come in, I guess, when it comes to people from well-to-do families, or people that have money, and middle class, and people that are living below the means, is that just education. The type of school you go to, because I did private schools to 7th grade, then I went to a public school, but then I'm still not the same person, because I really did experience the best schools in my town. So even afterwards, it was like, you can't change me after that.
It's the exposure that it gives you. Yeah.
Sticking on education a little bit more, I know you went to Cape Town for your education, for your degree. How was that experience? I think that you went from Trident to Cape Town. Again, it really just removes you from the Zambian education system away.
That's very true. That's very, very true.
What are the things you noticed from the difference? I know you have friends here, and maybe you have some of your friends schooled here. Like, what are some of the difference you noticed with the education system?
Okay, so let's first, I'll start with how I ended up at the University of Cape Town.
Yeah.
So I think I've always been a very intentional human being. I was very deliberate about my university choices. I remember being like, 16, 17 years old, and I sat down. I love to journal. I journal a lot. So I sat down and wrote down a list of universities that I would ideally love to go to. Like, even taking out the money, the financial constraint, if my parents could afford anything in the world and I had no limitations to where I wanted to go, where would I go? So I sat down, I Googled the best universities. I'm one person who always, I like to be part of the best, if that's a thing. Like, if I'm going to school, it better be a world-class one. So I Googled like the best universities in the world, and then the best universities in Africa, continent by continent. And then I literally started being so granular to the point that I was filtering and cancelling out options based on things like, would I like the weather here? Would I like the culture here? Would I easily blend with the people? Will I be too far from home? That's how I end up with my university selection. And lo and behold, I got acceptance in Australia. I got acceptance in Canada. I got acceptance in South Africa as well. And Canada was ruled out because it was too cold, and then Australia was a bit too expensive for my parents at the time. So I settled for UCT, but then UCT was already one of my top 3 because it was obviously the best ranking in Africa. So I'm like, okay, it's the best university in Africa, so it's something. So I ended up going there, and honestly, that is, I do not regret my university choice. I absolutely love it. If there's anybody who has studied at University of Cape Town, I think they can attest to the fact that outside the education system, just the experience of living is really, really amazing. Your question, to answer the question that was more on the differences that I've noticed, I think the South African education system, or rather the way my university curriculum was structured, it's very, first of all, because you're at UCT, right? Yeah, at the best university in Africa, you're competing globally. So I remember we had exchange students. People literally come from America and do like an exchange program. And remember, I'm coming from Zambia, and like from my school, I'm one of the top stars, So you go with the mindset that, I was such a star academically this side, obviously to be the same that side. But then when you get there, you realize like, OMG, everyone here was a top star at their school, you know? So it's literally like the creme de la creme, and all of you are competing. So I think university honestly humbled me. Like, it really humbled me, and it showed me like being smart is not enough to get through uni. There's a lot more other attributes that are more important, like discipline and consistency, that will actually push you and thrust you through getting into such a rigorous university. So one of the things I noticed is that I remember some of my friends would speak about stuff like, oh no, my results are missing and stuff. And for me, I'm just like, what does that mean? Like, the way UCT does their curriculum, it's extremely organized to the T. Like, when you get in from O week, which is orientation week, till graduation, like everything is so organized and structured. And I think it's very easy it's very easy to thrive because you're equipped with everything you need. Like, if you don't, then it's really just a you thing. And I can attest to that, because even me at some point, like habits like procrastination slip in. You're used to, in high school, used to be like team last minute. You study a day before the exam, but uni literally taught me that consistency is much more important than, oh, I'm smart and I grasp concepts quickly. So I think it's the organization, and also the exposure, in that you had literally different people from different cultures. Also, the culture in South Africa is very, very different, right? There's a lot of culture shocks that I experienced when I just got there. For example, the LGBTQ community is embraced that side, whereas in Zambia, that's not something that is generally accepted. So you had to learn all those cultural norms. You had to learn stuff like accepting people and understanding what their preferred pronouns are. It literally grew me, and it just made me realize, like, I grew up in Zambia, but that is not the rest of the world. Like, the fact that I got to encounter so many different cultures, so many different people from various walks of life, be it from South Africa itself, the international students. I made a lot of international friends from Zim, from Botswana, from Namibia, and obviously we also had international overseas students, and then we're all in one location sharing our various experiences of life, at the same time all working towards the same thing, which is an education. So I think it really, really grew me and gave me the necessary exposure to get me to where I am today.
That's so interesting. I had an opportunity to attend a few exchange programs, but I did mine in America. And
oh wow, that's nice.
I came back and said, you guys, let's all have a group meeting.
No, genuinely, I think when you go out there and you see how things work, how efficient people are, and you come back here and you go to a local, for example, I'll give you an experience of just like a hospital, right?
Yeah.
If you go to a hospital in South Africa, and the treatment you'd get, even just from the nurses, whereas if you come home and go to like UTH, it's like, whoa, guys, we've got a long way to go. We've got a long, long way to go. But exposure is very, very important, because obviously, if you're Zambian, you have the blessing of being exposed to better things, and you come back and, work with people and hopefully contribute positively and, benefit the society.
Which is something I agree with, because I'm one person now that's always like, of course, I used to say that I would like to live in a different country, and that might happen. That might happen, like a high possibility.
Yeah.
But I also see the benefit of being home and trying to understand how the system works and how best we can go. And I always tell people, it feels like we're like 50 years behind or 100 years behind.
Literally.
But
I honestly think it's just a mindset thing.
It is just a mindset thing. And a lot of people still benefit from the old system.
True.
This is why
That's very true.
Can't this is why it's not moving as fast as other countries.
Mm-hmm.
Because then they'll be like, oh, look at Zimbabwe. Well, we're not talking about other countries, we're talking about ourselves. How fast do we want to integrate a few stuff? Or how fast do you want to integrate technology? One of the Chipepo is a financial literacy expert, and she posted to say, we can't use cash anymore because no one has changed, but our financial services fail us. At this point, we don't know where to be, because it's a good thing we're going cashless, but can our financial services actually be able to sustain that? And I think Wednesday or Thursday, I couldn't have access to any of my banks, and I kept telling everybody, is it just me? How am I supposed to pay? Airtel money is working, but I need to transfer money. So it's those little things where we are moving forward, but there's something blocking us, and
we're moving forward at tortoise pace.
See, we're gonna get there in like 50 years.
Yeah, no, I hear you. Hopefully it gets faster. We progress faster, because obviously lagging behind only disadvantages us. But I definitely concur with what you said. Living in South Africa, right? I never used cash. Everything was cashless. I would swipe everywhere, order food on Uber Eats, all that stuff. And then I come to Zambia, so like I'm used to never having cash. And I come to Zambia and I go to like a proper shop, a proper store, and they tell me, no, we don't have a card machine. And I'm like, girl, what do you mean? Like, so what must happen now? Yeah, it's a bit, we need to get digitized, get with the program, guys. It's,
and everybody
it's 2026.
From the marketeers to the big chain stores. Like, can we all stand in line?
Yeah, but I think we're definitely moving. There's a lot of companies that are pushing the digitization agenda. Like I know one is like 543 Conse. They're pushing the cashless economy agenda. So there are a lot of companies that are actually working towards this, and hopefully we as the end users adjust our mindsets and actually accept that, because I think the biggest hindrance to improving a system is the resistance from the people that the system is meant to benefit.
True, and if majority of the people don't get with the program, it's very hard for people that want to implement it to really put us in line with the program. It's a two-way street, and everybody has a role. I love how we moved to finance, by the way.
Inadvertently, but here we are. It's like this stuff follows me.
You're an expert in the field, and interestingly, I did study accounting, but I just don't practice. But one of my favorite things to do is just talking to people about the financial space and the space you're in, which is to do with equity and working with people and their investments. Tell me more about your work.
Okay, so I work as a financial and investment analyst for a private equity firm called Monta Capital Partnership Limited. So we are a private equity firm domiciled in Mauritius, and we manage a fund of $100 million. So we primarily invest in 3 core sectors, which is financial services, agribusiness, as well as renewable energy. And we invest across sub-Saharan Africa, in 9 different countries across sub-Saharan Africa. So 2 of our investments are, one is in Botswana, which is a women-led microfin, and another one is a Zambian-owned agribusiness, which is called Richmond Farms. I know I'm not supposed to have favorites, but that actually is my favorite portfolio company because I got exposed to the agribusiness space in Zambia, and honestly, it's been such an experience. I'm learning so much. I've learned so much, and I think that's pretty much my job in a nutshell. I don't know if you have any other specific questions around my work.
When you graduated from the University of Cape Town, did you go straightly into being a financial analyst or an investment analyst, or how was that transition for you? And what are some of the decisions you made to end up where you are right now?
That's so funny because I had this conversation with a friend of mine a few days ago, and I was telling her, like, I literally haven't caught a break, guys. So I've never had a gap year. So I literally did, like, obviously high school, your primary school, your high school. Straight from high school, I did my A levels. So I did 2 years of A levels, and then straight from A levels, I went straight into university. So ideally, people would like maybe like we're done with our A levels November, right? December we close. Some people go to school in September, but for me it was literally like November I'm done, December is Christmas, January I'm going to South Africa for school. And when I was done with school in South Africa, I was applying for jobs both, but actually primarily I was applying for jobs in South Africa. I wasn't really keen on coming back for obvious reasons. Like, I was not ready to leave those views, guys. I really wanted to stay, honestly. But South Africa does have a policy that encourages them to employ South Africans first. So it got a bit frustrating because I would get to, like, final level of interviews, and then when I find out, when they obviously, because I'm black, they would assume I'm South African. But then when we get to the part of, okay, let's final documentation submission, and they're like, oh my gosh, you're on a passport, you're not a South African. And it's a whole back and forth conversation. And I was just like, you know what? Let me also just widen my basket and start looking for opportunities back home. So initially, when I finished my university degree before graduation, because obviously, you're done, but then the graduation is literally a few months later. It's not instant that you graduate and then you receive your degree. So I finished my degree in November, and I started obviously actively job hunting. What's next for me? And my first instinct was I wanted to work in a bank. I don't know why, but somehow my mind was programmed like, okay, with an economics and finance degree, surely I should be in a bank. And I mean, who wouldn't want to work for one of the banks? Like, I feel like that's most people's dream first job, without actually understanding what's involved.
Yeah.
So I applied and I got an online internship with Standard Bank, where I was doing corporate and investment banking as a virtual internship program. And then while I was doing that, I got a bunch of internships. When I came back home, I got an internship with Financial Insights Zambia, because I obviously wanted to do some research and just economic analysis and just build a bit on those skills before I enter the actual job market. So how I ended up in private equity and investments was actually by mistake. I did not intentionally plan on, it wasn't even a thought at the time that, I need to start working in PE or, in the investment landscape. It was my sister's birthday and we went for dinner. So one of my aunts came with her friend. And obviously, like, when you're catching up, you haven't seen people in a long time. Oh, okay, you're done with school now. Yeah, I'm done. What's up now? I'm like, I'm actually job hunting. Looking for a job. Oh, what did you study? Blah, blah, blah. Just literally surface level. And she's like, okay, you should send me your CV. I have a friend who's looking to build a team. And I think from what you've described as what you studied, it might fall in line with what they do. So I was like, oh, okay, cool. And I didn't even put much thought to it because obviously we're having dinner. Like, it wasn't a formal. So I share my CV with her. Meantime, also, I'm working a virtual job in South Africa. So I managed to get a remote job with the company in South Africa. So literally, like, after I graduated, I didn't have any, like, leisure time to just chill and figure life out. I just went straight in and started being productive or doing something with my life. So I was working remotely. Guys, remote work sounds like it's remote, but it's actually very, very demanding. Like,
it is very demanding.
I remember sitting on my laptop for hours. I would literally have to time, like, okay, time to go eat. 10 minutes back, log in. So I was working, and then I think after 2 weeks after my sister's birthday, I got a call from someone who's now my boss. And he says, "Oh, I received your CV and I'd like to invite you for an interview, basically. You get to meet us on this and this day. Are you interested?" I'm like, "Yeah, of course, cool." So I went, had my interview. It went well. Obviously, like, it was so funny because I was only, after he called me, I then called back my aunt and I'm like, "What's the name of his company?" Because I got to, like, now I'm trying to do my research, preparing for the interview.
Yeah.
So I literally learned about what I would be doing, or, got an idea of the space I would be operating in preparation for the interview. So I literally I was like raw, straight out of uni, no experience, no previous, like, not even a clue of what this stuff was about. But obviously went into my interview, and a few days later I got an email offering me a role. And obviously happy days, because I received my offer like a week before flying out for my graduation ceremony. So it was literally working online job, goes for that interview, nails the interview, gets offered the job. So I got offered the position of financial analyst trainee. So I was on a trainee program for about 3 months before then being confirmed as a financial analyst. And honestly, this job has really been a lot of on-the-job training for me. I've literally been learning as I go. And it's been such a beautiful experience, especially because I work with the best team. My bosses are very, very, very amazing people and very, very inspiring, actually. So it even pushes me to work hard and do my best, because I see how well they execute their jobs, and it inspires me. And my supervisor, I think he doesn't know. I feel like he's my mentor, but he doesn't know. Because literally, like, he's literally groomed me, and I think a lot of my growth, it's all because of him. And I'm really, really grateful for a healthy working environment that's actually allowed me to grow and contribute positively. So yeah, that's how I ended up at that job. I honestly think it was just God appointed, hey, like,
Yeah.
divine appointment, because I really had, if you asked me this 3 years ago, or if you asked me this the day I graduated, the day, not the day I graduated, the day I was leaving South Africa after finishing my exams, like, where do you see your life in the next year? I would have never imagined my life to look like what it looks like now, especially in terms of career, because I never really intentionally planned on working in the investment landscape.
Well, you're one of God's favorites. And I think
No,
you're
clearly,
on
guys,
track.
I serve a very big God. Like, my mother's prayers work overtime.
I always tell this to somebody that we really are just alive because our parents pray, because I don't think we're as prayerful as them, because a lot could happen. But why I also think you're one of God's favorites, and personally, I find it so interesting that you've never taken a gap year. Or even a
Dude,
gap
I
year.
also get
You
shocked,
are.
right? Like, when do I catch a break? Because also, in adulthood, there's no midterm break, shame. Like,
I saw that
you gotta
somewhere.
keep showing up. I always laugh. Like, I think I'm the most tired person in Zambia. Because what do you mean?
This is me this morning asking if I should take a break from the podcast.
Yeah,
And
no.
I know, right? What I find so interesting is, how do you even just keep going? I took so many breaks. If straight on, if I was the type of person that did what I was supposed to do at a particular time, I would be a doctor by now. So after high
Really?
school, yes, after high school, I graduated, I took a break to get a job.
Uh-huh.
And I stayed home, I worked for a year. I moved to Lusaka. I think I stayed in Lusaka for another year without school, and just did volunteer stuff. Then went to school, graduated in 2024, took a break. I said I'm not going to get a job as an intern or an auditor or an accountant anywhere. I am taking a break and I'll travel. And yeah, now I'm here. A year later, like 2 years later, I started working officially last year, but I do have a business that I run and the podcast and everything in between. this gives like people a different picture on how life could turn out. Is you and I are polar opposites when it comes to this. I am such a take a break person. I'm
You're
always
such a
take a break person.
okay.
Always taking breaks. Like even now, I'm taking. Yeah, I can't say that out loud, but I am taking a break soon. Can't give the details, but I do see.
Yeah.
I keep telling everybody I need a break, and for me personally, I need breaks to rethink my strategize, rethink my strategy, re-strategize, and also just remove myself from an environment to check if it's working for me or not. Like I can't process that and work at the same time. I wouldn't make very sound decisions. And I think that for you, it's like I feel like you're a A person. I'm a type B, where you're doing everything spontaneously, which is amazing. We're hoping more young people can be like you, not me. But I also want to say there's a benefit to both. Right?
Yeah,
like
definitely.
People like me thrive at different things, and people like you thrive at different things, and we make this country a better place. So yeah, very interesting. Love it for you.
Yeah,
I hope
I
my
think
kids get to be like you.
I think to touch on that, I think there's no straight line or manual to this adult thing. You just need to do what works for you. For me, I love to be busy. I think if you ask anybody who knows me personally, like I'm always busy. And I do get tired, but it gives me so much joy getting to do everything that I love. For example, a typical day for me, obviously my Monday to Friday is taking up with work. So work and I gym like 3 times a week. So Monday to Friday is taken up by my career. And then Saturday, typically mornings, I would like go for a marathon or go for a hike. And then maybe in the afternoon, like attend a friend's wedding or chilanga mulilo or a birthday something, or be with my family. And then evening, like another dinner or something. Like my weekends are usually jam packed because I also prioritize my relationships and the people around me. Because Monday to Friday, like you are very unlikely to catch me. So I try and make up for the lost time over the weekends. And then obviously Sunday for me is church. I like Sunday to be my rest day. So it's usually church, and then I just spend time with my family or spend time at home or do like a cute brunch, and then nothing hectic on Sundays because that's when I try to recoup. But then also I did find myself burning out a little earlier this year because I'm trying to show up in every facet with the same level of energy.
Yeah.
But one thing I learned earlier this year is rather than managing your time, it's more important to manage your energy. And that comes with prioritizing, right? Do what works for you. For me, waking up at 4 a.m. to go run 10, 21 kilometers is like great for me. Like it makes me happy. Yeah. It's a hobby. It keeps me, I enjoy keeping fit. But for someone else, that's like, why would you do that? I'd rather sleep in,
and
exactly. So I think it's just understanding yourself, learning yourself, and just figuring out what works for you, because there's literally no manual to how life should be done. It's been orchestrated differently for each one of us.
That gives me now I want to give my rundown of my week. Very interesting. Very differently. I do work Monday to Friday.
Yeah.
Saturday as well, because I'm working now. I just happened to work from home.
Yeah.
3/4 of the time.
I envy you guys who work from home. Yo, I really wish, because for me, it's not even about the fact that the travel time to work is what just I feel like it's such a waste of time. Like I'm stuck on the road for maybe like on a bad day, traffic is like an hour 30. So that's going home and coming back. So that's 3 hours of lost time because I'm just trying to move. So I do hope a lot of companies embrace the working from home culture, but that's only if Zambians can be disciplined. So I don't know. It depends on your discipline levels as well.
Yeah, no, it's a lot as well. I think that I do know that for whatever company I'm working for, I do have shorter work hours because of my concentration span. I get distracted easily, so I need to clock in and just clock out. Like I'm a firm believer that I don't need a 9 to 5 to get my work done. And
Mm.
I hate travel time just like you.
Ah,
And I work at different campuses, and it means wherever I'm going to go, I don't have one specific workstation. I sit anywhere. So it means travel time plus bringing my concentration to par. Like I need to focus, so I need to do stuff to make me focus. That
mm.
will eat into my time. But when I'm just home, I could just wake up, have my morning routine,
Yeah.
do my morning routine, make my bed, take a shower, read, and everything in between, and actually start working, and I could work a full day. But if I go to work, I'm leaving. Like my brain will just be
Mm.
like, "What, hired?" So it's one of those
Ah,
things. It's those things. But just like you, I enjoy staying home on a Sunday. But unlike you, I don't like people home on a Sunday. I'd like to have the house to
yeah.
myself.
Yeah.
But then I get to spend time with family, because then
Yeah.
my mother's house is like the family house at this point, where everybody just comes and we have lunch, and there's this
Mm.
tea we always make. Not making tea, but cooking tea, where you have to like have ordinary tea bags and milk and let it boil for like 30 minutes. It's like one of my
Mm-hmm.
favorite things is just enjoying that. I love my family. We spend a lot of time together. But half of the time when they're home, we've reached a consensus that it's okay for me to not exist in your world.
Ah, no, valid, guys.
and
You actually just need to prioritize what's best for
and you guys
you.
can do
Like,
your thing, and we'll be in the
yeah, I
same
love
house.
you, but I'll love you from my room.
Yes, and
Yeah,
but
no,
and they
I
know, and I
definitely hear
think
you.
it takes a while for a tradition, for a Zambian house or a African household, to get used to the fact that I like my personal space, and now I feel like as an adult I get leeway. With then I'm just like,
I hear you.
yeah.
No, it's very
What?
important to recharge. I think I'm a bit on the extroverted spectrum, but these
Yeah.
days I do find myself craving those intimate moments, just me alone, because I'm so busy. My schedule is quite busy. So I feel like I barely have time to myself, and it then makes me feel like I'm operating on autopilot. So I try to be very intentional about getting some time for just me, and I try to fit it into my busyness. So for example, for me, gym is my me time because I'm doing something I love, and by myself, it's my happy place. And now I also like to prioritize things like on a Saturday, like once a month at least, I try to go to the spa and just spend time by myself, or for a nice meal with my friends, but doing things that recharge me outside the showing up in the roles that I expected of me. I think that's very, very important as well.
Yeah, I think it's very important, and I love having this conversation with you, because when people listen to this, they get to listen to two high performing people, but totally different with how we spend
Yep.
our time. Because
Very
sometimes we
different
always
lifestyles.
because sometimes we always say you have to be a 5 a.m. person. And
Oh
it
my
took
gosh.
me a
I
while.
disclaimer, I am not a five. First of all, I'm not a morning person. That's what's funny. I'm
Yeah.
innately not a morning person, but my hobbies and the life I've chosen to live kind of demand me to be. So I enjoy running, like I mentioned.
Yeah.
And for every marathon, if I'm doing like a 10 or a 21K, it starts at like 5:30. And I live a bit far, so I need to leave like home earlier than most people would. So I'm kind of forced to just embrace this morning person journey, but it's not innately me. I'm not part of the 5 a.m. club. I'm trying to be, but it's a downhill battle. But I'm not giving up. I'm definitely not giving up.
And I love you 5 a.m. club people. I genuinely do. I think most of my friends are. And it took
Mm.
me a while, because my friends like do the hikes, the marathons. Well, we all do the
Mm.
hikes, but they do the marathons, the morning walks.
Yeah.
Like they have this thing of having an active lifestyle. I know my body looks like I have the most active lifestyle, but I'm
Ah,
just like a doormat half of the time.
that's so funny.
The only
No,
thing I
I
used to
hear
do was
you.
gym, but now I
Mm-hmm.
stopped. But that was like 5. 2018. Like, that's a long
Oh,
time.
girl, you can't even, don't even say it. Doesn't count. Totally nullified.
Because I'm trying to explain my body, and I'm like, I
Yeah.
used to go, but it's like a long time ago.
Yeah.
And because you're in a friendship circle where everybody's so active, at first I was trying to be that person. Now we've just reached the point of consensus where if it's a morning activity and it has to be
Like, don't include me, right?
Nah, I won't even respond to the WhatsApp group. Like, if it's not hiking, because I love to hike. Like, that's one thing I enjoy. Love hiking. I haven't gone this year, but I really do love hiking. Everything else is a stretch because there's no way I've been working the whole week to wake up at 4 in the morning on a Saturday.
That's how I feel. That's how I feel. But then I'm like, I enjoy it, so I kind of have to. I kind of have to. But in terms of productivity, I think even just from university, I'm more productive at night. So I'm a night person. So I remember I would study, like, I'm the type to, like, I would have my usual day, go to class, lectures, whatever, be done by 5, rest a bit, and then like from 9 p.m. till like 2 or 9 p.m. to midnight, then I'm deep focus studying.
Yeah.
And even with that, no matter how late I sleep, my body is programmed to be up by 6 a.m. So it would work. Because obviously I would be sleep deprived, but at least I would have done the work the previous night and I would still have woken up early enough to go about my day the way I usually do. Whereas if I say, let me sleep early, I'll wake up at 5 to study. Yo, I'm lying, guys. I am like, the day I tell you, like, okay, let me sleep early to wake up early, I'm lying. I'm actually like through my teeth.
I think surprisingly, I also wake up around 6 a.m. I just don't leave bed to 7:30.
Yo, I wish I had that luxury. I wish.
My clocking in time at work is 10. So
guys, what did work?
It took a while for people to just understand. It's an inside joke now at work where you just clocked in and you're clocking out at 3. And I'm like, bye guys. And it's so much fun for me. But then, I just tell everybody, I don't want to be battling with traffic at 7. Like, I don't want to wake up at 5 to be stuck in traffic for like 2 hours or an hour. Now it's even more because of the road construction happening. I would rather leave at 9 than be at work in an hour or 20 minutes, depending where I'm going. And I just say, I'll see you guys at 10. So it's so much fun. Actually, I imagine I'm already tired of that lifestyle because I'm like, I'm just working from home. It sounds ungrateful, but yeah.
I hear you.
You are a financial analyst, and most of the people that listen to this are students, and you studied economics and finance. Correct me if I'm wrong. What are some of the things a student in that field should learn before they leave? And what does it really mean to be a financial analyst? What are some of the technical stuff one should know if they want to get into that industry?
To that field? Yeah, that's a very good question. And I wish somebody told me this before I started. So financial analysis, in the name, you need to fall in love with your numbers. You really need to fall, because a huge part of your job, well, depending on which industry you're in, but I'll speak for myself, it's analyzing deals, breaking down financial statements. I mean, every company can produce a set of audited or unaudited financials. It's your job to make sense of those numbers and pitch them to other people who don't have that skill. So you need to be able to break down the numbers. And basically, my boss always says you need to be able to tell a story with the numbers, so that even if you're explaining it to a lawyer or somebody who has very little in-depth financial knowledge, it makes sense to them. So definitely, attention to detail is a small skill that it's not taught, but it's very relevant in that field, because you need to be the one to spot out, oh guys, if I'm looking at a breakdown of expenses, why have they increased by 50% in 2 months? What's the reason behind this? You need to be very inquisitive as well. You need to be able to literally break down every line item and tell a story to your shareholders or to your team. One technical skill that I would encourage anybody who is looking to work in this space to build is definitely financial modeling and valuations. That's something that I wish I did in university. I didn't learn how to build a financial model while I was at school. I think that was part of the postgrad program, but I didn't do my postgrad. Straight from undergrad, I went to work. So definitely, if you can learn that skill before getting into the job market, it's definitely an added advantage. It's something that I've literally been battling with, because obviously, you learn as you go. But that's the one thing my boss has really been on my neck about. This is the skill you need to perfect. This is the skill you need to be perfect. And he's brilliant at his job. One thing about that man, he will break down numbers and literally put them in a format that any Jimanja can understand. And I think that's the beauty of financial analysis. The fact that you can break down complex financial statements, complex numbers, and obviously paint a picture to the broader community on what these numbers are telling us. It's really, really interesting, actually. And yeah, softer skills, definitely you need to pay attention to detail. You need to be very precise. Look at one of my bosses, our CEO, always says you need to always look at things to the granular detail. Not only for numbers, even in literature, when you're reading, look at the granular details. It's taught me to be very, very particular and detailed, and also to just love reading and research. Every Monday morning, I have a team meeting with my supervisor, and I have to stay up to date with what's going on around the world. I need to know my current affairs. I need to know my macro economic statistics, and I need to understand how that then affects me in the business world, because obviously we're operating in the business world. So it's things like that you're not ideally taught. But if you could get the chance to start learning these things early, stay up to date with your current affairs, learn how to read financial statements, or learn how to build and make financial statements. Because obviously for most companies, you'll probably be getting something maybe in PDF or a soft copy. You need to be able to populate your Microsoft Excel. You also need to really, really be apt in Microsoft Excel. It's, what's funny? I hated Microsoft Excel. Of all the 365 packages, I absolutely hated it. And my job demands.
The one thing we need is
my job demands me to love it. My boss always tells me you need to be in Excel every day. And the more I use it, the more I get it. Okay, this stuff actually makes my life easier when I know how to use it properly.
Yeah.
So Microsoft Excel is your best friend. Honestly, develop that skill. Learn your core functionalities. For financial analysis, you need to learn to use your keyboard more than your mouse, because it helps you model faster. So it's little things like that. But if anybody is listening and they are keen on getting into the financial analysis space, I would definitely encourage them to learn how to do financial modeling and business valuations, because even outside financial analysis, you could even do that as a side hustle, and it's a skill that is consistently sought after.
Nice. What advice would you give any young person that is that just graduated university? I think we had graduations a few weeks ago here. What advice would you give them for this period they're in? Could be a gap year, could be a gap month. They could be getting straight into work. But what advice would you give them, and what skill set would you tell them to learn or have in this period?
I think the one piece of advice that I would give, because it worked for me, is to literally put yourself out there. whether you are taking a gap year or you're choosing to go straight into the workforce, you need to put yourself out there, and that means literally jumping at opportunities, right? I think the one thing you should do when you're starting is be okay with not earning much, because be it an internship, be it a first job, you're literally getting paid to learn. So I think a lot of young people focus on the paycheck when they should put more focus and energy on building the skill and the relationships, right? Your network is everything. Because of the people I work with, I've had the opportunity to meet so many people in such a short space of time. And obviously, those are connections that you stay, that they're lifelong connections, right? So I think definitely putting yourself out there, because nobody will do that for you, you know. If there's an opportunity to volunteer at something, jump at it. If there's an internship program where you get to learn from people who you look up to, apply for it, you know. There's a lot of, I mean, if you're interested in leadership, that's another thing that I'm interested in. I'm part of the When Females Lead alumni. And I saw they were advertising a mentorship program early days. The age limit was 25 at the time. I was 21 or 22 when I saw it. And I just shot my shot, literally. I applied. I said, I'm keen. I meet every requirement except the age. So that surely shouldn't stop me from trying. I always put my best foot forward. And that's something that I think I would encourage anybody to do, because you never know who's watching, hey? And at the end of the day, if let's say you volunteer at something and you do your work with excellence, someone will notice you, you know? I always encourage people, let your work speak for itself. You know, even if you're just ushering people, the way you do it must be to excellence. I always aim to execute everything that I'm given with excellence, because at the end of the day, my work should be able to speak for itself. It should be a point where your work does the introduction for you, so that even a lot, and what I've noticed about these things is that the more you get apt and you build your skill, introductions will be made for you, right? You probably get to a point in your life where you don't even have to apply for jobs, because people refer you, and referrals come from the way you did something previously. So if you do it with excellence, you allow yourself to be in a position where somebody can speak on your behalf even without you trying. So yeah, you really just need to put yourself out there and always put your best foot forward. Be it in the internship, even if you're taking a gap year, take a gap year, but do something productive, right? Volunteer for something. Don't just sit at home and doom scroll, because if you waste 6 months doom scrolling, in the next 6 months, like, we'll still be able to laugh at Mr. Zimba. He'll still be there, you know. But just also embracing a mindset of continuous learning. You must know that learning never stops. Be okay with continuous learning and embrace it, and also, like, be deliberate about it, you know. You could be at home. There's a lot of free courses on LinkedIn, on Google. Coursera also has a lot of free courses. Just do something that progresses you every day, because small progress is better than no progress.
I love that. Continuous learning and occupy your time. I know I said I took a gap year, but I'm one of the most busiest and busy person in the world. I always have there's always something I'm working on. I always tell my friends that I have an idea, and then I try it out and it fails, and I try something new.
Yeah.
And I feel like I volunteered a lot. So now it's always like, oh, let me work with this organization with this idea. Let me try something new. I think everybody's always looking for that first job, but it doesn't come the same way for everyone. Some genuinely just have to stay home for a while. So what are you going to do? You're staying home. So I think I was having a conversation with one of the students, and I said, Yeah, well, it's your fourth year and you're going back to your parents' house and your father has a business and you want skill sets. You say you want experience. My first advice
Mm-hmm.
is work for your father. Learn how he
Yeah.
runs his business. Because sometimes we always think we want experience but not from home. But if you have the opportunity
Mm.
to be in a space that you can get that experience from home, there's a company, there's this thing you can learn, and you can actually implement what you're learning. Do it.
Yeah. Yeah, no. I mean, learning is an everyday activity, and you just need to be teachable, embrace the spirit of teachability, and also just embrace the season that you're in, because I think a lot of people fall into the trap of, oh, I've graduated at the same time as my friends. My friends are working for ABSA.
Yeah.
I'm just working for, you've got different paths, different callings. So your friends might, start before you, or look like they've got better jobs than you, but you could find that you end up with a healthier job, a more progressive job, a job where maybe your friend will start working in, I'll use a bank, for example, and they are a, a teller for 10 years, whereas you work for a small company, and because you do your job so excellently, your your progress and your career progression is much faster than the person who even started ahead of you. So the one thing I also tell students or anybody listening to this is to never, never compare your journey and your season with someone else. I'm a staunch Christian, so I definitely believe in God's timing and appointment. So I think people should just be okay with digging deep and figuring out what works for them without falling into the trap of comparing what their journeys look like to the people around them.
I like that.
Yeah.
Earlier, you mentioned that for work every Monday, you give an analysis of what the trends happening in the world, in Africa, and
Mm-hmm.
that's part of your work. So, how do you see private equity changing the economic landscape in Africa or Southern
I
Africa
think,
to be specific?
mm, okay. I definitely think um, private equity in other more developed African countries like South Africa or Kenya, it's already, the ball is rolling, right?
Yeah.
But in Zambia, I think it's still in its infancy stage. It's still in its infancy stage. Most people probably don't even know what private equity is. But I honestly think that there needs to be a deliberate push, a deliberate push from governments in the not only in Zambia but on a continent scale, to really, really tap into this sector and invest in it, and also just invest in awareness on what it's about, because private credit is the next big thing, guys. There's a lot of there's a financing gap when it comes to SMEs and MSMEs on the continent, because your larger funds like the DFIs typically tend to look at investing larger ticket sizes like 10 million and all that stuff. But there are those smaller companies that have so much growth potential, but they're limited by access to capital. So I definitely think there needs to be a deliberate push on, first of all, educating people that that option of funding is available, and also deliberate government reforms that will allow and encourage citizens to set up more of these, because currently the regulation isn't really the friendliest in terms of setting up PE funds. I'll speak for Zambia. I'm not sure about other countries, but I think if there's that push of awareness, and also awareness both on like the end user side and also um on the government side, and we collaborate to make sure that people know that this option is available, it would definitely help grow a lot of our economy, because the moment we see companies growing, it benefits everyone at the end of the day, because people are getting employed. There's a lot of economic benefits that comes from companies growing, and that option is available. That growth is catalyzed by private equity funds.
And that's so true. I think I know what private equity is about because I read a lot. But again, if somebody
You're one of the few people. You're one of the
somebody
few
just
people.
comes to me and says, "What's private equity?" and I'll be like, "I think I have an idea, but I know about it, and I think that it's very true. It's in its infancy stage, but if we have more firms like yours that are talking about it and building, I think will make so much go on here." And you mentioned something to do with Kenya and South Africa, and we have a new law. Is it a new law or a new policy in Zambia to do with the 24 hours 20, 24 hours 24 hours economy? And I just want to get your take on it and what it really means for the investment sector and just the economy at large.
Funny enough, I had a glance at that. I know it's been talked about. I heard about it on the radio and everything. The 24-hour economy. The first question that came to mind when I saw that is Zambia ready for that?
Yeah.
First of all, do we have the numbers? I think a 24-hour economy would make sense in like Nigeria, where the population is crazy. But do we have the numbers to actually have that work the way it's supposed to? So in all honesty, I'm still doing my research on that. I'm still doing some reading around that. I get what they're trying to do in hindsight, but I'm not sure about the practicality, and how applicable and feasible it would be to implement right now, given the current size of our economy and our current GDP. So I'm keen to see how that develops.
Me too.
And yeah, I'll definitely form a more solid opinion on it once I've done enough research and reading around what the push and agenda is for that one.
And just to mention, I'm not an expert, so I really have no expert opinion. I just think that it's going to be very interesting to see how it's rolled out. I've had a lot of times where I've said, guys, our economy needs to be 24 hours because certain things just don't make sense. But and I like that you mentioned that the current state we're in and the current GDP, it's going to be interesting to see how it rolls out. So yeah, I also can't wait to see how it rolls out. I think it's also in Zambia, there's always a buzz. So it's quiet now, but somebody talked about it recently and I was like, oh, this still exists. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they've talked about it, but I haven't seen anything in depth on what they exactly are trying to achieve. So I'm also keen on reading a bit more on what the actual agenda is and then obviously forming an opinion after that.
Sure. Well, Bupe, I want to give you an opportunity to ask me a question.
Okay, my first question will be, what inspired you to start this podcast? How did we get here?
It's a famous question. I really hope I answered this the same on it. I always wanted to start the podcast a long, long time ago. I think I have an acquaintance. She started her podcast and she's doing great. I was so insecure. Like I mentioned earlier, I want to take a break person. I really want to think things through. And at the time, because I also had somebody come in and say, oh, let's do a podcast. I feel like you're well spoken and it would be so interesting to start a podcast with you. I just didn't know what the podcast would be about, so I didn't start it. But I did have a feeling that I wanted to start a podcast. Then I also mentioned earlier that I had an exchange program. I did an exchange program in the US for a few months, and that was the most safe environment I've ever been in, like mentally and just everything in between. It was such a safe environment, and they taught us how to start stuff new in a safe way for you. Sometimes you always think that I just need to start. but you have to also think about how uncomfortable that space would be and how that would affect your mental and physical well-being. So they brought us with this concept called smart experiments. And you say, oh, when you fail at something, it doesn't mean that you failed. It just means it's a smart experiment. You're learning from it. That's the first time somebody walked me through how to start something and not feel like a failure when it doesn't go well or if it's not successful. So
That's
how the
actually so
podcast
important,
started.
because I think a lot
Yeah,
of people shun from jumping at opportunities because obviously imposter syndrome and the fear of failure creeps in,
yeah,
right? So I think that's a good lesson to learn early, that, failing now doesn't actually mean failing. I think it's,
yeah. It doesn't
rather
mean
than
that
look at things
you're
as
not doing
failures,
enough.
just look at them as lessons. I think it's also something that I've had to work through on a personal level.
So that's how it like started, but the why has always been the same. It's my work, and the work that I like to do is I want to help young people reach their full potential. So in everything I used to do even back then and everything I'm doing now, it's just how do we help young people reach their full potential? How do we
Mm,
impact the education system in Zambia? How do we use technology to learning? But yeah, in a nutshell, that's the story behind how practically I was able to really just be able to have the
yeah.
podcast and be where I'm at with it right now,
Mm-hmm.
and just learning something to do with failure and my self-image of who I am, because I really can't
Yeah.
outperform myself. But also, while I was still on this, I think that I was reading something on one thing I struggled a lot and I haven't talked about it was going to America when you're from a middle class family is such a big thing, and
Mm-hmm.
nothing can top that. And I went there in 2023 when I was 23. Nothing
Mm-hmm.
could
Which part of America were you in?
in Kansas.
Okay.
Yes. So and but we travel to different states. Nothing could top that. And coming back to Zambia is you now start thinking, how do I outperform that one trip or that one experience?
Mm.
And then you realize there's no that one experience.
Mm-hmm.
So recently I have had challenges of my self-image in terms of everybody talks about climbing the mountain, getting the job, right? Like, "Oh, I want a job. But no one talks about what happens when you're at that peak and what happens
I
if you need to
see.
come down from that mountain. So you can climb a
Mm-hmm.
mountain, you can climb Mount Everest and you see really great views, but you still have to come back from that mountain. So no one really talks about that. Where yes, I'm successful, but you can't always be that person every day. So what happens when you're not? So even with the podcast, it's
Mm.
the same thing. Even with the trip to America, it was the same thing. I have traveled to other countries, but it always felt like every trip, everything I am doing is fighting against that one. I think one of the best trips and peak of my life that changed how people view me, how I view myself, how I view what I work on. So it's like it's a lot of those things in between that
Mm-hmm.
just sort of mentioning to say we always want the peak at something, but then no one says, oh yeah, you still have to retire even if you become the best analyst, even if you become a CEO, you still have to
Mm.
come down from that,
Yeah.
and the energy will
And
be very different.
just one question. I think the podcast culture in Zambia is obviously only picking up now, right? It's not
Yes.
something that historically we can say it's been happening for years and years and years. So, what are some of the challenges that you faced? Obviously, coming up with this great idea to from idea to execution. What's one of the key challenges that you think? Okay, at this point, like it really rocked me. I even doubted whether I want to follow through with this.
What rocks me all the time is how not cheap it is to run a podcast.
Ah, I'm dead. Uh, take us
I
back to
think
the money.
it really like every time I talk about this, I feel like I want to cry, but it's just a joke.
Yeah.
It is expensive, and people like throw little jabs like, why isn't it physical? Why isn't it video? And I'm like, that really will cut into my budget line, and I wouldn't be able to consistently have this podcast if it was video, because the cost of that is not cheap. So
Yeah.
one of the biggest challenges is you can have a great idea, you can want to have a podcast but not have the skill set. And I know people would be like, oh my goodness, so why don't you just learn how to edit, how to do graphics? Then it takes away from other ventures that give me money. So that has been my biggest challenge, was just, how do I afford this? I think that's always at the back of my mind. I'm always like, how do I keep affording this? What do I need to do to keep this going? Because
Yeah.
I do have a team, I do have people I work with, and I do pay them for their services, and they do an amazing job with the podcast. And if I lose them, it means the quality of work with the podcast goes down. So it was just
Yeah.
finding a team. I've had the podcast for over 2 years now, and I have worked with a few different people. I feel like there's always a time where I'm always getting somebody new, especially with my podcast manager. There's always a transition time where I'm like, oh, in 6 months or a year, we change podcast manager. And those people are really good at what they do, but they're not cheap. They are not cheap. And it's now learning, it's just learning that is, how do I find the right team? And how do I stay competitive in the market to keep those people on my team? Because I don't enjoy training people every 6 months. Because it means every 6 months I have to train somebody. We have to teach them how the podcast run, what the podcast is about. I think that we did have a recent transition in January, but that was done so well. Like, that's the first time with the podcast where we did transitions where we had the admin person for my company, the former podcast manager, the new podcast manager, all on one meeting, and I wasn't even present. And they did such a great job on explaining and transitioning the podcast to the next person. Yeah, so I know that the podcast has grown, obviously, but that has been my challenge, is how do I keep the experts to keep it going? And that just bottom line comes back to money. Is you just have to pay people for their services. So
Yeah, and also I think I like how you've highlighted how the quality of your work doesn't need to go down. And obviously coming up with a succession plan is not as easy as it sounds, and finding a team that actually gels well. So I definitely hear you on that one.
And it's exciting just seeing new people. Even to now, my team and I guess it's part of teamwork. There's always going to be a back and forth. But sometimes I'm like, you guys should know this by now. You don't need me to approve that. Like, that should be basic knowledge. And they're like, oh, you're the boss. And I'm like, I hate being the boss. I hate that I'm the one that has to figure out the back end of
Make
something
all
to
the
actually work.
approvals.
Yes. And I still have to host. I still have to be part of the team that find guests. I still have to work, and I still have to run a business.
Yeah.
So that's my life. Half of the time is there's a podcast, there's a business to run, there are clients, there's work. How do you? I know earlier it sounded like I have most fun, but working for yourself is such a stress.
Oh no, I know.
If you get a good
Running a business is no rest.
It's like no rest for the weekend. It really does feel like me. But yeah, I think also the podcast industry is growing. So many podcasts are coming up. We still have our best top 10 podcasts. And just like anything in the world, you need to have connections to be able to have access to the best stuff. But over the years, for us, it's just been, we'll just keep doing what we're doing for the longest period of time. And the credit might come and the credit might not come. But the fact is, the underlying thing is, I hope it changes somebody's life. I hope it changes a young person's life. And I'm always like, if one person listens and they tell me, oh my goodness, I like your podcast, it helped me with this. And I get that now. We met at the Full Circle Forum event, And someone was like, "Oh my goodness, I love your podcast." And I'm like, "You listen." I still can't
That's
believe
so
people listen to
beautiful.
it. So I think
That's so
now that
beautiful.
it has grown, and I'm so proud of it. It has grown, and I'm such an awkward person in person. But
Ah!
I'm with my friends. Just a disclaimer.
Mm-hmm.
But I go to a few events sometimes, and someone goes like, "I listened to your podcast, and I loved it because of this and that." Or when I get a text on my WhatsApp or Instagram or LinkedIn, and just them saying, "I listened, and this is what I loved, and I really do appreciate the work that you do." Yeah, it keeps me going. Just even me talking to you now, because I think I mentioned it. I was thinking to say, if I don't have this episode today, it means we have no episode on Tuesday. And I said, if I don't have an episode for Tuesday, I will not make a backup plan. I will just
Mm-hmm.
announce that I'm taking a break. And that's because
Yeah.
I've been wanting to take a break. And I'm like, I deserve a break. And I'm like, but we
Mm-hmm.
consistently release an episode every Tuesday. I really can't
Yeah.
let other people down. I can't let myself. But I am tired.
Yeah,
Tired,
no, I hear you.
tired. And I
It's
just,
also important to recharge, to allow yourself to re-strategize and come up with new ideas. But honestly,
we
kudos to
already
you on
did
the
that
work that you're
earlier
doing.
this year. So I have no excuse. We did the
Yeah.
rebrand and re-strategizing, and we have team meetings. Just on a personal note, with the amount of work I have and the big transition I'm experiencing in a few weeks, I'm
Mm-hmm.
just tired. But I
I
also,
hear
talking
you.
to you, I'm like, oh my goodness, doing this. So it's really just this adult thing really doesn't have a mid-term break. And
Aw.
but thank you so much for the question. I don't know if you have any other question.
One more, actually. If you had to pivot into a different space or industry or career, what do you think you would do? Or if your life didn't look like what it looks like now, what would you be doing?
It's a tough one, actually.
Mm.
I'm already in the communication space. I can't say that.
Mm-hmm. Like total 360, like
Yes,
something completely different to what you're
different.
doing.
It's hard. I'll probably go into the finance sector.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mentioned earlier, I was a major in accounting, and
Mm-hmm.
I think that no, not the finance sector, tax. I think
Mm.
I would still study finance. I would still study accounting, then get a certification or a master's in tax law with Ziali, not on the financial part, but the law side.
I
I think I
see.
would really specialize in taxation and be a tax consultant. It's so one topic I enjoyed, and in my free time or somewhere in my 30s, I just might study tax law for fun. And I say this to people like, when I get better with my business and I have free time, I would probably study tax law. I like learning about tax. Everything I do behind the scene, even for me, my business and my personal finances, and the decision I make when it comes to the type of employment I have right now, is just borderline to tax. It's so romantic how you could look at numbers and your earnings. I don't think people are this meticulous, right, about their decisions and their finances, which it all comes back to tax. You can earn so much money and pay half of it to tax, or
Yeah,
you
that's true.
could be a consultant, or you could just do part-time work and pay 15% on tax, or you can own a business and pay tax after expenses. So it could be 37%, it could be 15%, it could be after expenses. Literally could
Mm-hmm.
be 5%. So it's just those little things that this is like one of my happiest things you've asked me today. It's just those little things where you can play around with your earnings just
Yeah.
by understanding your tax bracket. I don't work full time because I don't want to pay 37% of my
Oh,
earnings. Point blank.
that 37% hurts, guys. It hurts.
I know it's done in batches and everything, but when I was an accountant and we were doing that, I said, all that money, right? I work part-time and I pay probably half of that. It still hurts, but I own a business,
Yeah.
and I also, because it's such a small business, I pay minimum of that. Or you could just work as a freelancer and also probably still pay tax if you want to be compliant or not. So it's just little things. And for me, I think I always tell all my friends, just have a basic understanding of your earnings and your tax. I'm not telling you
That's very
to
important.
be shady and screw with the government, but I think we don't talk about it enough. And Robert Kiyosaki, the rich dad poor dad guy, always says
Yep, love his
everything really
books.
just comes back to tax. Like rich people are
That's
rich
true.
because they know the benefits of certain things. Certain investments, if you're paying dividends, how much do you earn on this? How much tax do you pay on passive income? How much tax do you pay on this? It just borderline comes back to that. And I think that if anything, yeah, I would do that, and I would work as a consultant for
Mm.
big organizations and pay tax
Okay.
the way I'm supposed to pay tax. I think that's the one thing. And I was having a conversation with one of my friends. We were at the same uni. She's an accountant as well, but she's in auditing. And I always get I don't know why people ask me for career advice when I don't do anything, when I'm not in any active
Why are you
overseas
disqualifying
project.
yourself? Ugh.
No, I think maybe I look at life very 360. What you wouldn't think about it when you tell me about your life, I'd be like, maybe I should do that. I think it would be fun. I think you should look at the trends and everything. So I told somebody to say, my best advice would be which field in the accounting industry will not disappear with AI. Like, what skills do you think people would still want to pay people for? And if you're going to start a company, do you want to start a company that, or would you just want to be a consultant? And what's the tax implication on that for you? And it just borderline comes back to tax. I love numbers so much. I repeat, I'm always in love with them, and yeah, it's just one of those things. Like, I know it's still related to what I studied, but just still go to accounting and focus more on tax law. Not be a lawyer, but just understand the implication of tax law and the accounting side of tax. And yeah, so I think I would do that for fun. When I get
Yeah.
bored, yeah, when I go on those days when I get bored, I'll just enroll for a tax
Yeah.
class just to keep my analytical skills to
Yeah,
pay.
no, I hear you. I think in another life, I think I would be a lawyer. I really enjoyed business law in university.
Me too.
But I think I would be a lawyer who focuses on financial transactions, like the ones that deal with bonds and like the lawyer that specializes in financial transactions. I think that's a pretty cool job because you
Yeah,
still need to kind of understand the numbers, but
yeah.
the law, like ish guys. I think, I've my grandpa always wanted me to be a lawyer, funny enough. Apparently I talk a lot, but I don't know what that's related to the job.
Me too. Mine
But
was
I'm
either.
more I prefer numbers to words. So my mom actually wanted me to be an engineer. But
Ish.
honestly, like physics was my best subject in high school. But I just didn't care. Like it was just easy for me, but I don't care about vectors, I don't care about the torque. Like I have no interest in that. So I think in another life I'll probably be a lawyer. Yeah. Lawyer. Engineering is not for me. My sister wants to study engineering, and my brother is a mechanical engineer. So I'm like, Mom, at least there's other kids who fulfilled your dream.
I know, right? My grandfather
Yeah.
wanted me to become a doctor because he was quite sick,
Mm.
and I don't know, personal doctor at that point. Then
Yeah.
one of my uncles was like, "Don't you want to become a lawyer?" He actually offered to pay my uni fees. Ne? He was like, "Aka, I'll pay," and I said, "But he's an accountant," and I said, "I want to be an
Mm.
accountant like you," but I think he's also now uh, an analyst now, a financial analyst. He works in the US, and yeah, it's just those things. But I think in everything you do, understanding the law
Yeah.
is one of the best things. own a business, and understanding the law implications to everything is one of my,
It's a life
like
hack.
that legal. Yeah, it's a life hack. Like those are things that should be a basic skill. Like it should be a necessity that young people from the 5th grade understand business law, company law, just the basic stuff, tax law.
If
Like
I were to invent university curriculums, I would slip in an aspect of law regardless of what degree you're doing because it
yeah,
applies everywhere,
true.
right? At least for me at UCT, they made us do business law and company law.
They have that in the
So
curriculum here. We do have it in
uh,
the curriculum. I did
yeah, I
business
mean,
law
like
and company law.
regardless of whether you're doing medicine, whether you're doing
Oh, I know what you mean.
engineering,
Like it
there
should be
should be a component of law
both. It
somewhere
shouldn't just be
because
the
it
business side
applies
only.
across sectors.
So they should do, because all these sectors also have law that applies to them. So it's
That's
if they
exactly what
don't
I mean.
do the law we're doing, they should do their law. Because I think that doctors do a lot of stuff in Zambia and they don't know the implication to it, or the people in the medicine sector, and it would be very generous for them to learn, because all of us are like, really, is that legal? Is that legal for a medical personnel to do that? One day they'll be sued. So yeah, no, I get what you mean. So the University of Cape Town does that for all its programs, like apart from the
I am
business.
not sure about how they treat other faculties, but in the commerce faculty, I'm pretty sure anybody who did a Bachelor of Commerce or Bachelor of Business Science, at some point, whether it's in second year or first year, you kind of have to do a law course, a course on law.
Guys, again,
Yeah.
basic knowledge shouldn't even be
Yeah.
at uni. High school.
Yeah.
Should be at
Very,
high
very
school.
important.
If they asked a suggestion for the curriculum, add law. Add basic law.
Basically.
Add basic law, so we cannot all be ignorant about certain stuff. Well, Bupe, thank you so much. I loved the questions. It's really made me talk, and I talk a lot. But again,
I'm glad.
I had the different elements, and the last one was just like, oh my goodness, my dream job. What it could be, Lord, what it could be.
Yeah.
My last question to you is, what do you look forward to?
That's a very broad question. What do I look forward to in what aspect?
In general, anything.
I think I look forward to getting my master's degree. I do want to get a master's degree soon and getting my CFA. Getting my CFA. But on the broader aspect of life, I think I genuinely look forward to being a mom one day. Like, I think being a parent is an assignment, and I was actually having a conversation with one of my friends yesterday that if people looked at parenthood as an assignment from God, I think would have a lot less childhood traumas. So, I mean, also just seeing how my mom has handled being a boss babe mother and still being a present mom really just like excites me. Like, I wonder what aspects of my mother will be passed down to me when it's my turn to be a mother. You know what I mean? So yeah, shout out to my mom for literally being an example in terms of the perfect mom, also the perfect career. Like, she wears many hats simultaneously, and I think maybe that's where I get it from.
I like that.
So yeah, I think that's something I do honestly look forward to. God blessing me with a family, a husband, beautiful children. Yeah, in His time, obviously, not now, not like now, not next year. No, just whenever, not anytime soon.
Just
but when
soon,
it happens, I
but not soon
do
enough.
look forward to that. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I love that, and those are beautiful things to look forward to, and I feel like you have actually lined them up. You'd like to get your master's, so you probably want to get that before you get married and have
Yes,
beautiful
most
children. So
definitely.
I love the lineup. And again, thank you so much for having this conversation with me. It it's such a light this morning, and I hope
Aww.
everybody that is listening to it really has their aha moments. I feel like you were
Mm-mm.
speaking, and I'm like, oh, me too. And sometimes I'm
Yeah.
like, nah, she's alone in this one, and I'm just
Ah,
glad. I'm just glad we had this conversation, Bupe. I'm really just really grateful for you making the time and space to share your knowledge and expertise with us.
no, thank you so much for having me. I really, really appreciate the invite. I'm honored to speak to you and spend my Saturday morning with you.
Me
So yeah,
too.
I look forward to listening to the episodes that come out even after this one.
Great. And for everybody listening, thank you so much for spending this morning with us. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you get to get some sort of inspiration from this conversation and share it with somebody that you feel like will highly benefit from it. I think I have learned a lot, and again, I do appreciate what the way Bupe does, and I hope you do as well. So from us, it's bye for now.